That's where the electrons scan. So in the odd field, it's scanning down this one. It's scanning down lines 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so on. The odd numbers. We got to fill in those blanks, so on the even scan, it comes over and fills in what's in between those, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and so on. In the original standards, remember he was talking, I said standards was an important thing. Nobody had any standards. In the original standards, which was called NTSC, National Television Standards Committee, a bunch of engineers got together and said, this is nuts, we're going to kill each other off, we're going to kill off public demand if every TV station can only be received by people who made those TVs. We've got to have a national standard. And Japan did the same thing, by the way. Very unusual, where you would get competing companies and their engineers all sitting in one room going, guys, we're killing each other. Pick one. Pick one. Which happened, by the way, 15 years ago, exactly the same process with high-def TV. There was the Japan standard, there was a whole bunch of standards, and everybody was fighting with each other, going, mine's better than yours. No, it isn't, mine's better than yours. So we had to have a standard. Now, how many lines? 525 lines was the original NTSC standard. 525 total. And the way you got those was to interlace the odd and the even fields. That's why when you go and look over at the waveform monitor, there's two sets of scans. One's the even set of lines, one's the odd set of lines. Now, if you keep building up these lines, just like if I kept drawing them on the chalkboard, pretty soon you would have an unintelligible mess. So we need a way to erase that with an eraser and start again for the next frame. Otherwise, you just have frame upon frame upon frame. It'd be a mess real quick. That moment when all the scanning stops is called blanking. It is effectively as if I just took an eraser and erased this. Now, we started off talking about electricity and how important that was. What is our cycle of power in the United States? How on and off? How many times?
60.
We have a problem here. In the early days, we needed 2 half pictures to make 1 full picture. So how do we do that? Divide this by 2, and so you had 30. 30 cycles per second. Now, in other words, you'd have the 2 halves, 30 for the odd field, 30 for the even field, put them together, and we got 1 frame every 60th of a second. That matches when the power is going on and off. So when the blanking happens, when the erasing happens, it happens when the power is off anyway. Way cool? Now, that's true on the camera side. What about on the TV set side? Well, because the electricity is also running your TV, the blanking coincides and is synchronized to go on and off with whatever you're watching. You see how this all works. Now you know why we studied TV on the first day. Now you know how this is all coming together. So, 30th of a second for the odd field, 30th of a second for the even field. Put them together, and we got 1 full frame. Don't forget now, don't confuse that with this. We get 30 frames per second. That's our standard. For film, it's 24 frames per second, and that's why when you watch a movie, in the old days on TV, it would flicker. The blanking and the electronic signal and the shutters for the movie camera were not synchronized. They were going black at a different time. One was going black every 24th of a second, the other one was going black every 30th of a second, and so you get this horrible flicker. Now, when computers came into their own, anybody know the first computer that was commercially available?
Back in.
Nope. Oh, way before that.
1970.
It only did one thing.
It counted one.
Let me drop a name and see if you remember. Wang.
Nope.
Dr. Wang. Does that ring a bell? He
Sort of.
invented a computer to do word processing. The screen was not horizontal but vertical, so it looked like a piece of paper. And so Dr. Wang from China invented a computer specifically to do word processing, because they realized this whiteout and backing up and retyping was just ridiculous. They had to come up with some kind of a video screen so you could see what you were typing. And so, since letters are usually in black and white, you don't get many letters in color. The color that Dr. Wang decided on was green. So he invented a green display, followed the same specs here, but the problem was when you type little letters on a screen, you start losing the resolution. And so we kind of encouraged an idea of getting rid of this interlaced scanning and coming up with one scan, not interlaced, boom, 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 just one scan, no interlacing. That is known today as progressive scanning. This was in the 60s. Well, people looked at that and said, geez, the resolution is so much better, can we use that for television? And so they started using that notion of progressive scan for television. Caught on in Japan, not so much here. This is why when you take Irwin's camera class, you have to decide how many lines. High def is virtually double this at 1,125 lines. That's high def. Again, they had to agree how many lines was going to be the standard. This is for interlaced. Interlaced. But in progressive, we can do the same thing by cutting that in half and just having one scan, 720p. That's why when you guys grab the camera for Irwin, you decide, am I going to shoot 1125 interlaced, or am I going to shoot 720 lines progressive? Now, nobody uses those terms anymore, they just say I and P. But it's important for you guys to understand where those words came from, and now you do. So, 1125 interlaced or 720p came directly from the original National Television Standards Committee, which was 525 lines. Now, your generation is going to have to deal with something else. We're going to double this again. If we double it again, we end up with 4,000 lines instead of 1,000 lines, or super high definition. High definition. 4,000. That is coming online right now, which means all the cameras and TVs in the world are obsolete as of today. Now, manufacturers are very happy about this because just like they did with record players, they said, oh, CDs is so much better. Throw away all your record players and buy CDs. Color TV, black and white. Nobody wants black and white. You can go buy a color TV. Everything costs you 3 times more. Now we got high def. Hey, throw away your old NTSC TV. Buy a high def TV. It's twice as good. Oh, now that you have that for a couple years, wait a minute. Buy a 3D high definition TV. Throw that old one away. Okay, now that I did that, we're all set now for a 4K TV. And if you go down to Costco right now, they'll be very happy to sell you 10 different models of 4K TV. 4K TV. That's the good news for the manufacturers. Bad news for you is each time they do this, of course, when the new technology comes out, it's far more expensive than the old technology, and you got to throw away everything. That's not a big deal in your house because you just throw away your TV. What happens next door? I got 4 $25,000 cameras sitting there. You got 4 $25,000 match cameras that you check out for your projects. Are you with me? That's going to cost me $500,000 to go to 4K. Oh, did I mention? The switcher has to be changed out. The recording system has to be changed out. All the monitors have to be changed out. So if I go to 4K, it's going to cost me about $2.8 million. Just to switch that studio, no increase in capability. No increase at all. Just to switch to the new standard, going to be just shy of $3 million. By the way, I didn't get suckered into the 3D thing. We had a big meeting on that. It was whenever we went to high def, and all the administrators said, you know, they're selling 3D TVs now, and you're going to be behind the time. And I looked at the trends and said, 3D didn't work in the movies, I don't think it's going to work on TV. So I said no, and everybody thought it was nuts. We made the right call. Okay, now, well, I'll accept the applause. I'm in the union, I'll take the applause. All right, here we go, guys. Assignment for next time. I want you to read page 94. This is connectors, just this one page. Page 94. Okay, and I want you to pretty much memorize that. So when we go to next time in the lab, you can talk the talk and walk the walk. Next one. Your next assignment will be something that we've already covered. Everybody got that one right? All right. Next one is chapter 5.2, which is how digital TV works. 5.2. See, the way Zettel wrote this book, by the way, he's a friend. You go to NAB, I will introduce you. He keeps this up every year. Comes out with a new edition. Nobody else does that. Nobody. Because it's so expensive, you can imagine. And he's a genius to boot. His son's a nuclear physicist in Berkeley and on. But anyway, the way he wrote this book was, all chapters are divided into 2. So 5.1 is, here's the general concepts I'm going to talk about. 5.2 says, okay, here's the nitty-gritty. Here's how it actually works. So you understand how the book is constructed. So you're going to read that chapter on, or that page on connectors, and then you're going to read the chapter on digital. I've already introduced the digital to you by sampling. So this goes into a little bit more detail. The graphics are a lot better than I drew for you, so it'll be even clearer, I hope. But I wanted to get that basic stuff into your head before you started reading it in here. Okay? We're 4 minutes over. That's it for today. See you guys later.